The weight of another day settles on your shoulders as evening approaches. Your mind replays conversations, mistakes, missed opportunities, an endless loop that follows you from dawn to dusk. The chatter never stops, does it? Even as your body craves rest, your thoughts continue their restless dance, reviewing every moment, analyzing every interaction, preparing for tomorrow's anxieties, before today has even ended. You are not alone in this restless theater of thoughts that plays the same exhausting show night after night. Tonight we will explore 5 sacred lines that Buddhist masters have whispered to themselves for centuries, words that transform the heaviest evening into a gateway of peace. These aren't mere affirmations or positive thinking exercises, but keys forged by ancient wisdom to unlock the prison of rumination that holds so many captive. In the mountain monastery, where I spent years learning the deeper teachings, there was an old bronze bell that rang each evening precisely at sunset. The sound would echo through the stone corridors, reaching every corner where monks were engaged in their duties, some sweeping pathways, others tending gardens, many lost in their own mental struggles, just as you might be right now. Upon hearing that bell, every monk would pause wherever they stood, close their eyes, and speak 5 simple truths to their hearts. I watched countless times as faces heavy with the day's burdens would soften, as shoulders would drop from their defensive positions, as breathing would deepen from shallow anxiety into profound peace. What seemed like ordinary words held extraordinary power to transform the human experience. The first line cuts through the most persistent illusion that binds us to suffering, the belief that today's struggles somehow define who we are or determine our worth. This day is complete, and I release it with gratitude. Notice how your mind immediately protests when you consider these words. It wants to hold on to every unfinished task, every imperfect moment, every conversation you wish you'd handled differently. Your ego insists that completion requires perfection, that you cannot possibly release what feels so urgently unresolved. But here lies the profound wisdom that took me years to understand. Completion isn't about perfection, it's about acceptance. Like a river that doesn't cling to the stones it passes over, the banks it touches, or the debris it carries briefly along its course, you can acknowledge today's journey without carrying its weight into the sanctuary of tomorrow. The river doesn't judge the stones as good or bad, it simply flows around them and continues its eternal journey toward the sea. Place your hand on your heart right now and speak these words aloud, even if your voice trembles with uncertainty. This day is complete, and I release it with gratitude. Feel how your chest expands with the breath of letting go. Notice any resistance that arises, that tightness in your throat, that voice saying, "But I should have." Welcome that resistance like a guest, then gently return to the words, "The day was what it was, no more, no less." Your gratitude isn't for perfection, but for the profound gift of experience itself, for the privilege of being conscious in a world that offered you countless opportunities to learn, grow, and simply be alive. But releasing the day is only half the practice, and perhaps the easier half. The second line addresses the deeper poison that corrupts our peace more than any external circumstance ever could, the relentless voice of self-judgment. I forgive myself for being human. How often do you speak to yourself with a harshness you would never show to a friend, a stranger, even someone you dislike? How often do you demand from yourself a perfection that you don't expect from anyone else in your life? In the monastery, I witnessed something that changed my understanding forever. There was a young monk who struggled terribly with meditation. Day after day, he would sit in the hall, his face twisted with frustration, fighting against his wandering mind. One evening, after particularly difficult sitting, he broke down in tears before the teacher. "I'm hopeless," he whispered. "My mind is chaos. I'll never find peace." The old teacher smiled with such tenderness and said, "My child, you are not trying to fix yourself because you are broken. You are learning to love yourself because you are human." The monastery taught me that self-compassion isn't weakness. It's the foundation of all wisdom, the soil in which genuine transformation grows. When you wage war against your own nature, you become both the warrior and the battlefield, exhausting yourself in a conflict that can never be won because it's based on the false premise that you should somehow be other than what you are. Picture a lotus flower growing in muddy water. The flower doesn't reject the mud, doesn't spend energy trying to escape it, or wish it were planted in cleaner soil. Instead, it transforms the very mud that surrounds it into the nutrients that create its extraordinary beauty. Your mistakes, your limitations, your human fumbling through this complex existence, these are not obstacles to your growth, but its very soil. When you forgive yourself for being imperfectly human, you stop waging war against your own nature and start the gentle work of transformation. Breathe these words into the places that feel tight with shame or regret. I forgive myself for being human. Let them settle into your chest, your belly, the spaces between your ribs where old hurts have made their home. Notice how your inner critic, that voice that never seems satisfied with your efforts, grows quiet when met with such unexpected gentleness. This isn't about excusing harmful behavior or abandoning the desire to grow. It's about creating the compassionate space in which real change becomes possible. The third line shifts your perspective from the mind's habitual focus on scarcity and problems to the abundance that exists in every moment, even the most challenging ones. Today I witnessed love in unexpected places. Your mind, trained by evolution and society to focus on threats and problems, may resist this truth. What love? It might protest. Today was difficult, stressful, disappointing, but love appears in countless forms throughout every day: a stranger's unexpected smile, a moment of natural beauty that caught your attention, your own act of kindness toward another, even your capacity to feel concern for others, which is itself a form of love. I remember sitting in the temple garden one particular evening, completely convinced that my day had been barren and difficult. I had struggled with doubt, felt disconnected from my practice, been impatient with a fellow monk who asked for help. My mind was cataloging everything that had gone wrong, every way I had fallen short of my ideals. Then, as I prepared to return to my cell in a state of self-defeat, I noticed how gently the evening light was touching the ancient stone steps, how the birds still sang their evening songs despite the approaching darkness, how my own heart still beat with quiet persistence even though I felt spiritually lost. In that moment I realized that love had been present all day, not dramatic or obvious, but subtle and constant. It was there in the morning when I woke naturally without an alarm, in the simple pleasure of warm tea, in the concern I felt for my struggling friend, in the very fact that I cared enough about my spiritual growth to feel disappointed by my perceived failures. Love was everywhere, patient and persistent, waiting to be recognized rather than earned. Let your attention soften as you speak this line. Allow your mind to scan through your day, not looking for perfection but for the subtle presence of care, connection, beauty, or kindness. Even in your most challenging days, love was present. Perhaps it was subtle, perhaps you missed it in the moment because you were focused on problems, but it was there. This recognition literally rewires your brain, training your attention to seek beauty and connection rather than constantly cataloging difficulties and threats. Yet dwelling in the past, even its beauty and love, can become another form of attachment that keeps us from the profound peace that exists only in the present moment. The fourth line draws you fully into the sanctuary of now. In this moment, I am enough exactly as I am. This might be the most challenging line of all, because your mind has been conditioned to believe that your worth depends on constant improvement, achievement, or reaching some future state of perfection. Consider the evening light that streams through your window right now. It doesn't apologize for fading as night approaches. It doesn't try to be brighter than it is, or persist beyond its natural time. It simply illuminates whatever it touches with complete authenticity and presence. You don't need to earn your worthiness through accomplishment, improvement, or reaching some ideal version of yourself. Your enoughness exists independent of your achievements, your mood, your circumstances, or how you compare to others. This moment, right here, reading these words, breathing this breath, existing in this particular configuration of atoms and consciousness, is complete in itself. You are not a rough draft waiting to become a final version. You are not broken and in need of fixing. You are not incomplete and desperately seeking your missing pieces. You are, right now, a complete expression of life, perfect in your imperfection, whole in your humanity. Feel the revolutionary weight of this truth. Right now, with whatever struggles you're facing, whatever fears are troubling your mind, whatever imperfections you're carrying, you are enough. Not because you're perfect, but because you exist. Not because you've achieved something special, but because your very being is sacred. This moment needs nothing added to it to be holy, not better circumstances, not improved mood, not future accomplishments. It is already complete, and so are you. The fifth and final line opens the door to tomorrow, while keeping your feet firmly planted in the wisdom of acceptance. I welcome whatever comes with an open heart. This isn't passive resignation or naive optimism. It's the courage of true acceptance. The strength that comes from recognizing that your peace doesn't depend on life conforming to your preferences. Like a mountain that remains fundamentally stable, whether storms rage around its peaks or gentle sunshine warms its slopes, you can meet life's inevitable changes without losing your essential center. The mountain doesn't resist the storm or cling to the sunshine. It simply endures both with equal grace, knowing that all weather passes but the mountain remains. In the monastery, we learned that resistance to life's natural flow creates suffering, while openness creates space for wisdom to emerge. When you welcome whatever comes, you're not inviting chaos or abandoning discernment. You're declaring your trust in your own profound capacity to meet reality with grace, to learn from whatever arises, to find meaning in both joy and sorrow. This doesn't mean you won't have preferences or that you should stop working toward positive change. It means you're developing the spiritual maturity to hold your preferences lightly, to pursue your goals without attachment to specific outcomes, to remain open to the possibility that life's plan for you might be different from minus, and perhaps better than your own limited vision. Place both hands over your heart as you speak this final line. Feel your chest expand with possibility rather than contract with fear. Tomorrow will bring what it brings: challenges and blessings, disappointments and surprises, ordinary moments and perhaps something extraordinary. And you will meet it all as you have met today, with the profound resilience that has carried you through every difficulty you've ever faced, with the love that has sustained you through your darkest hours, with the wisdom that grows deeper with each passing season. These 5 lines, spoken with sincerity each evening, create a sacred pause between day and night, between who you were today and who you're becoming tomorrow. They're not magic spells that will eliminate life's difficulties, but gentle redirections of attention, from problem to possibility, from judgment to compassion, from fear to love, from resistance to acceptance. As the evening deepens around you and you prepare for the gift of rest, let these words settle into your bones like seeds into fertile soil. Let them work their quiet magic through the hours of sleep, preparing the ground of your consciousness for tomorrow's growth. Peace is not something you achieve, it's something you return to, again and again, with the patient practice of these ancient truths. Tomorrow's peace begins with tonight's intention to release what cannot be changed and embrace what eternally remains: your capacity for awareness, your gift for kindness, your profound ability to be present to this miraculous, difficult, beautiful experience of being human. If these teachings have touched something deep within you, consider sharing this moment of peace with others who might be struggling with their own evening restlessness. Subscribe for more insights from the timeless wisdom of the monastery, and let me know in the comments which of these 5 sacred lines speaks most directly to your heart tonight.